Divine healing is received by faith. And I want to encourage you, can you put that booklet back up there? These 4 truths are included in this booklet. We do a little bit of teaching on each truth to kind of give you get you familiar with it. And then I give you all the scriptures that I have in my notes under each of these headings. I group the scriptures under these 4 pillars of truth. And it's a very powerful way to study healing and a very powerful way to teach healing. So that if you wanted to teach that sickness and disease is a result of sin and Satan, you have a whole list of scriptures that make that point. And it's very easy to begin to read those and then comment, and you've got yourself a healing seminar. And so all of it's in this booklet. It's free of charge. You can scan that QR code. I think you know how all that works. And I would encourage you to get it. Man, yesterday they got tons of those booklets. And in fact, these booklets are going all over the world. So I'd be happy for you to get that and have that teaching. Because every time I come to healing school, I use these same notes and I go to one of these 4 truths and we elaborate on it. And you'll never get away from it, because every healing truth, every healing example, every point that you could make in the area of divine healing will fit under one or more of these categories. Isn't that powerful? And so, because there's so much in the Bible on the subject of healing, if you don't have some method of studying it and managing it, filing it, it can be a little overwhelming. But this really helps me because I kind of know where I am in the process. Because it's literally progressive revelation. And you know that's what the Bible is. It's progressive revelation. So it's very important to have a system to study, especially doctrines like this. So I want you to turn to Mark chapter 5, and we're going to look at the woman with the issue of blood and go through this with you. Mark chapter 5, let me get there. And just to further develop this point, I was very careful on the words of this point. Healing is received by faith. Now, it can be received in other ways. When someone's raised from the dead, obviously it's not their faith that's working. That's a miracle and other things. And then there have been reports of people who were skeptical of healing coming to services and being healed without their cooperation. God can certainly do that. That would fall under the category of gifts of healing or working of miracles, and those things can certainly happen. But what's valuable about receiving healing by faith is this: every person who came to Jesus in faith received their healing. Not one of them was turned away. There are times when there were sick people that didn't get healed. He even said in Mark 6 that he could in his own hometown do no mighty works. He healed a few sick people. So there are obviously people left behind that didn't get their healing in that instance. So, but what we know for sure is whenever someone came to Jesus by faith or in faith, they always received their miracle. And in most cases, and this is important for us today, in most cases, they initiated the encounter. So this lets you know this, that if you're sitting back saying, God knows my condition, He knows where I live, He knows what I need, and if it's His will, He's going to do something, and if it's not, He won't. If the woman with the issue of blood had done that, she would have never gotten healed.
That's right.
In fact, it's so far the opposite that it's worth mentioning. Not only did she not expect God to come to her house, call her name, call out her sickness, and heal it without her doing anything, she didn't even care if He knew her or not, if He recognized her or knew she came. She didn't care. In other words, some people think that God's just out doing what he wants, that he's got this list, and like if Jesus is God in the flesh, so in his ministry, he would have a list of things he was going to do that day and a list of people he was going to meet, and and he would just get up and walk out that list. I don't believe that's necessarily how he operated. Say why? Because there were times when people came unannounced, on the spur of the moment, and he changed his whole day because of that.
That's right. Come on.
So if Jesus did have a list, this woman wasn't on it. He didn't even know her name. He didn't know her need. He didn't know she was even near him until after she'd gotten her miracle. Now, I'm saying all these things to make it easier for you to receive your healing. You don't have to be special. God's not healing special people. He doesn't have a list of haves and have-nots or important people. She didn't go through channels to meet Jesus. Some people did. Nicodemus did. He sent message to Jesus. I would have never met with Nicodemus if I had been Jesus. He sent word to Jesus, hey, could you meet with me? I'm a very important man, and I don't want to meet with you in the daytime because it's embarrassing. But if you could meet with me in secret at night, I'd like to talk to you. That would have been a no. And Jesus met with him. Well, he was on whatever list. He got on the list that day. This woman never did get on a list. I don't know if that excites you or not, but that excites me. It seems to me, as you read the New Testament in light of faith, it seems as if Jesus went out every day and started throwing out the word. Faith comes by hearing, preaching the word, and when faith responded, that's where he went. How many of you believe God still works that way today?
Yes.
You remember in Luke, is it 15, with the four men with the stretcher? Jesus went into this house, and it says the Pharisees and scribes were sitting in the front row. That's a hard crowd. And he began to teach and preach. And I've been in those churches before. And there was nothing going on. Nothing. No one got healed. In fact, we don't think anyone got healed that day except this one man. And while Jesus is teaching and throwing the word out, they've started hearing a sound on the roof. And these guys are tearing a hole in the roof.